I believe that the three tenets of life that I run by, and it's easy for me to talk about because I talk about it all the time: relationships, education, and execution.
Mm-hmm.
Relationships are the number one thing that can give you access to all kinds of value, but you have to be of value.
Welcome to the Your Peak Life podcast. Let's conquer the summit of life and reach the apex of our potential.
Thank you, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Your Peak Life podcast. We have a special guest in the house. I personally got to know him a couple years now, and he's probably one of the people who have embraced me. I'm new. I was kind of new to the big picture of real estate and, knowing who's who in the industry. And we connected, I connected with Coach K, right? Agent K. Freaking Kaleo, what is it? The Flyin, what is it? The Flyin Hawaiian.
Back in the day when I had hair and good knees, that is what they used to call it.
But ultimately, when I think of Kaleo, to be honest with you, the first thing that pops in my mind is your family, your wife, your children, you being a motivator in all aspects of life. So I appreciate you coming here, spending some time with us. And, we want you to just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your background, and we'll kind of take it from there.
No, awesome. Well, first and foremost, thank you, fellas, for having me. I love this stuff. I'm super excited. It's a privilege and an honor just to be here. Whether we're at different places or whatever, you see when people are doing great things. And I just want to commend you guys on all that you're doing and happy to have a small part in it. So
thank you.
Kaleo, Kina, a.k.a. your boy, Agent K. Once upon a time, the Flyin Hawaiian. No longer that. But, life has been great. So I was born in Hawaii, grew up in California and Arizona. We were just discussing, I say I'm from Arizona because that's where my family's still at. Went to the Naval Academy, may or may not be a Hall of Fame basketball player in college and high school. You can Google me. My name's easy to spell. I'm the only one. Kaleo Kina. Go ahead. You can check it out. I'm still living in the past. But now went to Naval Academy, got stationed in Norfolk, fell into what we call the Norfolk Black Hole. So I did 2 sea tours on real warships, a cruiser, a destroyer, and then I did shore duty at Dam Neck. So I've been all over here for the last, that was from 2009 to 2017. Really grew to love the area. When I first got here, Hampton Roads was not my thing, coming from the West Coast. But once you've been here for a while, you get to know the places and the people. It really grows on you. Great hybrid spot, not too big to be a huge city, but not small enough where there's nothing to do. So it was a great place where I met my wife. I was able to grow a family. Currently married with 4 kids under 6.
Damn.
So yeah. So
you got the squad.
Yeah. Shout out to my wife. I mean, she can't keep her hands off me. What can I say?
Yeah.
But
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame in that. So we're actively growing the family. And in 2017, when I got out of the Navy, I did everything you're not supposed to do. I bought a house, bought a car, got married, had a baby, and didn't have a transition plan. For that station in life, I had like $8,000 in a savings account coming off of being an officer. At that point, I also thought that was good. Like, I was like, babe, we got 6 months of reserves. I can pay the mortgage. I'll figure it out. Right?
Yeah.
And so during that stuff, I was, GI Bill, using that to get paid. I had some disability. I was doing some sports performance coaching with Tallwood High School and the local bases called MWR. So I was getting paid to do camps. And so I was making decent money, and my wife at the time was doing nails. So we weren't hurting, but it was just like trying to figure out the next steps in life. One of the kids I was training, they become family to me. They own a local restaurant called Phelan's Oriental Restaurant, Filipino community, big in this area. The mom who owns the restaurant was like, you should do real estate. So at the time, didn't really have anything to do. So I got licensed in June of 2017. Actually started a local brokerage in Virginia Beach. And what was the deciding factor? It was right down the street from my house.
Okay.
And I just had my son. So I was like, oh, they're right there. It's literally 2 minutes away. Like, this is what I want to do. And quite honestly, those 2 years flew by. Did 3 deals my first year. 24 my second year, got the infamous Rookie of the Year award for that company, and was looking to grow. Some transition happened, found myself at my current brokerage where I had a mentor who kind of started teaching me business at a higher level, and that's what I was attracted to. So since 2019, I've been with this company. my life's just completely changed. Like who I was before is not who I am today. My understanding of what I thought success or what I could accomplish or achieve, I mean, I've already achieved that. Like now I'm just thinking big. It's like I didn't know that life could be like this. So I'm super grateful and humble.
So let me go back real quick because, well, most people don't know. My wife is Samoan, right? So I've been involved in that community as far as the Polynesian community for like 20 years. So I'm like my wife. When I see a Polynesian, I'm like, yo, you Samoan? Right? Like that's the standard thing, especially out here in Virginia, is you don't see polys that much. There's a big community. But the first time I met you, I was at the basketball court, hot ass day. And I was like, who's this Samoan dude, right? What's up? What's going on? I knew nothing about you. But, you know, when you meet some people, you know, they got a good aura. That's what I can say about you. But I also understand where that comes from, because what I can say about just the Polynesian culture in general, it seems like they always have a good family balance. Not everybody, right? But for the most part, even when the thing's hilarious, like even when a grown man is messing up, I could just tell his mom. They'll check him. That's the funniest thing to me. And they'll shut up, they'll listen, and they'll do what they're supposed to do, which is super cool. But just like everybody else just coming up in this world or in this country, you know, the finances, all that's not taught to us. It's just go to work, get good grades, kind of the standard things. And where you stood out to me as I started following you was, okay, these guys are doing something, because they're not only mentoring, but then they started touching on the financial stuff. Because when I had my breakout year in IRS, is like, yo, it's 60 grand. Okay, I'll see you next year, right? Like everybody goes through that. And I think that's something that also impresses me about you. And obviously your family life is great, it seems like, because, you know, like we also know on social media, everybody just likes to put up the good parts.
Yeah.
But like I've met you and your wife here and there, you know, at the basketball tournament, which you did great. You put up like 33 pointers on us. The guy did not miss.
That was my last hurrah. That was my last
That was it.
Yeah.
It was like the crawling Samoan.
No, I would say, I mean, you're touching on it. The Polynesian culture in general is super tight knit, right? We grew up in a, you know, you're raised by the village mentality. Like
Yes.
aunts, uncles, aunties, like they all can discipline you, whoop you, hold you accountable, and love you, right? And so one thing I didn't lack in life, and we all have our stories. I believe everybody has a story. I mean, watch American Idol. Everybody has a story, right? So regardless if you're rich, poor, where you came from, whatever, everybody has a story, right? And so we can touch on that, but I want to talk about all the things that have helped us get past those stories, right? And so, you know, my mom did the best with the resources she had and tools she had. And one thing she taught me was love and relationship, like in that. And so like, I'm big, like when you said energy, I'm vibes and energy. Like not only do you have to have a great mindset, I think you need to have a great heart set. Like I can really just read somebody initially, right? And so I'm super open and collaborative, and that's just how I was raised. I was the oldest, and you know, in the Samoan culture, the oldest of the next generation, and being male is a real thing. And so like I was the oldest of all my brothers and sisters by a good amount of years, right? So my twin sisters are 6 years younger than me. My brother's 12 years younger than me. Okay. My biological father wasn't there, but like I'm the oldest of his side of the family too. And so it was not a burden, it was a responsibility that as the man of the family. And my mom got married a couple of times, so I was really the man, right? They were the women. I was raised by my mom, aunt, and grandma. And so I had to step up early. And so I've always been like, tons of friends and family around, tons of kids in the house, was the one responsible. So I think that helped me kind of transition to high school sports, college sports, in the Navy, like even leading real estate, like owning a brokerage, running a team. Like the fundamentals are there. Like can they trust you? Can they respect you? Can you drive a result, right? Like I don't think it's that hard, but relationshiping is like the key component.
Yeah. Exactly, right? And that's how, I mean, you talk about you got licensed in 2017 and it's like flies by. And now you are where you are. And that I think has a lot to do with the relationships. Like doors open up. I mean, aside from the hard work, like doors do open up for you as you communicate with people and people open up and let you glance behind those doors and you take advantage of whatever opportunity comes by if you wish.
Yeah.
But also going back, where did you pick up basketball from? Was it in Cali or was it in Arizona?
You know, it's a fully transparent podcast, right? So my mom had me when she was 16.
Okay.
So it's funny because I am Samoan. I'm probably more Samoan than I am Hawaiian, right?
Yeah.
But growing up, I hated to say that I was Samoan because
Really?
my father wasn't around. And my father was the one that was Samoan. So I used to always tell people I'm Hawaiian. And that's why it's the Flyin Hawaiian, right? Because I'm like, I'm not Samoan, I'm Hawaiian.
Gotcha.
Right? So that was the part that I grew up with the Polynesian culture side. Like, I didn't accept that part of my life until I met him later on.
The
in
resentment.
Life. And it's funny, just quick side note.
Yeah.
First time I ever met him with my wife, I brought her out there. They asked us to go to church, and I hadn't been to church like in a long time. When I say I'm Samoan, if they see, I'm Samoan. They sat at a church with like tribal chiefs of each family represented with one guy in the middle talking about the next family reunion. And like, I'm sitting there looking and my wife is like, bro, you're not Hawaiian. You're Samoan. So that was like, I had to accept that later. So like, I'm probably more Samoan. But growing up, when you say basketball, my mom got married 3 times as I was growing up.
Right.
Just to be clear, every time she got married, my stepdad was black.
Okay.
So athletics, I had stepbrothers, Casey and Chris, they were black. So like my sister's a half Hawaiian, half black. My brother's half Hawaiian, half black. I told myself and convinced myself I was black until I was 13 and tried on a do-rag and realized I can't get waves, right? And so
No, you guys got good hair.
Yeah, I was just around, the culture for a long time. And obviously, sports is a big thing. And so I just was always into basketball, right? And then I still don't like to admit it now, but it kind of was in my blood. My biological father is a twin. He's pretty big and known for being the Twin Towers in Hawaii. They played at a local college and are like, every one of his kids all went to college and played basketball too. Oh. And the crazy part I found out later in life, on my side with my mom, because that's what I grew up with, like my sisters and brothers didn't do sports. My mom played volleyball, but they played basketball on my dad's side. And I was the only one to play basketball on my mom's side. Wow. And so it was like wild connections, that like kind of in my blood and kind of in the environment I grew up in, like that was the sport to play.
So now, like with you telling me all of that, it's like I start to see the picture too, because you being the oldest, taking that responsibility, I could see where that mentorship kind of mindset comes in. Also, like you really looking out for your people.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but like, is that at what point did you like make the switch? Like, oh man, I'm really gonna start diving into ownership, really taking care. Were you already just watching more agents than were on your team, or?
I think I was a team captain on all. I think some of us are just wired a certain way, right? There's just a natural innate leadership ability that you can't quantify, right? So I was always seeking more. A lot of it was because I wanted to prove my mom right and my dad wrong. So I think there was that chip on my shoulder, like I felt he left me hanging. And every time I grew up, my stepdads would come in the picture and they'd come out the picture. And what I think I learned later in life is like, it hurt me that whenever they would come back, they'd like take my sisters on a family trip, take my brother to go visit his family. And I'm like, bro, I was family. I was your son. Like, and all of a sudden y'all don't remember me. Yep. Right. And so I think there was something inside that was like, nah, the world will remember me. I'm going to do my best to have an impact and to be so great. My mom could always look at me and be proud. So I think I always had that in me. Right. And then I believe that the 3 tenets of life that I run by, and it's easy for me to talk about because I talk about it all the time: relationships, education, and execution. Relationships are the number one thing that can give you access to all kinds of value, but you have to be of value, right? And then you got to be learning based. I call it a professional learner. I can learn something from you. I can learn something from everybody. And so a lot of people, they're just takers, unfortunately. And for me, like I joke around, I'm like, all I need is one thing. Like I need to come to this today. There's just one thing I need to take away that I know can bring value and I can try to go implement. And then the last thing is like, there's a lot of talk, a lot of noise. Go do what you fucking say you're going to do. Execute. Evaluate the results, shift, adjust, and then execute again. But people are scared to take action, right? And so As growing up, I did that for myself. And I'm actually like, I'm more risky when it's just me. I get risk averse when it involves other people because I'm more scared for them than I am for me, right? It's like, man, I have to make this decision for me and these people, right? But when it's me, I'm willing to mess up or lose at a higher level because I believe like I'm going to learn something from that will make me better. It's when like people ask me, or in business, I get more nervous for those businesses because I don't want them to lose. I'm okay losing because I know it'll result in wins. So it's just something naturally, like I also believe you guys are the epitome of it. There's 3 of you here. I think you guys have 2 other partners, right?
Yes.
Like there's just power in people. Collaboration over competition. No one of us is smarter than all of us, but the key is finding the right people. Yeah. Right? I think that we all get a lot of acquaintances, but how many people do we have that are like, it's hard to quantify, like true, no BS. Like, you know, whether you're right, whether you're wrong, that you're not judged, they got your back. Like, so I always tell Jordan or like my friends, like, it's the deathbed concept. If I was to go get in a car accident right now and I'm on my deathbed, who in my circle is checking on my wife and kids? And when I say checking on them, I'm not talking about posting about a Facebook post or sending an email or a text. Like, who's at my house? Right? Making sure they're good. Who's calling like, that's the kind of like, I love a lot of people. I have a lot of relationships, but I'm very aware of what the core relationships are. And that's a really, really small group.
But you can see that. So, you know, a lot of people, when they think of us, they think of us as a squad, right? You know, we're always together. There's very rarely a time where it's one of us at an event. It's usually 2, 3, 4. However, same thing with you. Like when I think of it, you know, it's like y'all squad. Every time, you know, we go somewhere, it's you guys, you know, and that's when I think about you. Like you gather people around and you guys just ride hard for each other in all aspects of life, which is rare.
I mean, you guys are just, you know, I don't want to keep repeating, but that's the power that you guys have too. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I see. And that's what I respect and love about that, right? Is like to get people together and to really hold each other down. Like there's a book, I just read it last year, but essentially it talks about if I as a single person stood at the base of a mountain and I wanted to climb it, that mountain would appear X amount high or hard, right? But if I stood at the same base of that mountain with my 3 homies that had my back, me accomplishing that climb would seem like 30% more accomplished. Like it's 70% less intimidating because I got my people, right? And it's like when you have your people, like you can go conquer the world. Sometimes when I go on speaking engagements or whatever, like I actually ask my boys, I'm like, Jay, I need you to show up. He's like, bro, you're going to kill what you need. I was like, bro, I just need you in the room. Right. You just need to be in the room.
Facts.
Like I don't need you to say anything. I don't need you to do anything. Just be in the room with me. I just feel more empowered when you're with your people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, Eric's a great speaker, but he doesn't want to speak.
Barely ever.
And it's just crazy. I try to tell him all the time. He's given me some of the wisest words. It's next level smart. He knows how to communicate with a person to motivate, to give them that little nudge in what motivates them. I'm like, bro, you need to share that message or, you know, just.
I mean, even the little nugget that I got, you know, pre-recording, like the fact that your dad owned 30 IHOPs.
Right.
Like literally, whoosh, right. Like I'm like, no shit.
Well, and you know, it's funny. I don't really tell people that because they'll think, oh, he came from wealth. But my grandfather was a cattle farmer. So he came from Oklahoma. You had to work. You got up at 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
You're feeding
hard labor,
5,000 cattle. You
Yellowstone.
were making, like Yellowstone, real deal. And you know they moved around. He got a job with the school district, and he got into manufacturing.
Yeah,
and he got a PhD in political science. So his parents were like, "You're going to be the president." My grandma had other options for him, and they hated her for that.
Yeah,
but he took what he had, his knowledge, applied it to the business. Went into the restaurants. She was in the wedding and catering business. They started buying homes. That's what got me into real estate.
That's powerful. Honestly, just hearing you say that, like, the world is so crazy, man. I try not. I think I'm gonna be the crazy uncle at the cookout, like when I'm older. I'm like, yo, Uncle K, crazy, right? Because I just think like the universe works in mysterious ways. But I'm not sad. Like I'm just like irritated that like you would even say like people think you come from wealth. Because when you said that, the first thing that came to my mind was like, yo, he's a wealth of information.
Correct.
I would love to pick his brain about how much he knows, or like the different ways that your family ran the business and what worked and what didn't work. Like to me, it's not like my first thought wasn't like, oh, you came from money. It was like, bro, you could help me be better.
Let me hit you with one even better. He has an aunt that's a super high level real estate producer, next level.
Right.
Yeah.
She is.
So
she's actually for sure. She's down in Raleigh. Barely knew her growing up. We went to her office. Actually, me, Mike, and shout out to Michael Popa. He's up in Jersey doing real estate. But we went down there to visit her, and we walked into her office. And this thing it's a 6,000 square foot office. Trophies, plaques, articles over 35 years. And I stopped and one caught my eye, and it was random. It was like a 1989 photo, and it said number 3 in the world. And I was like, "Is this your company?" She was like, "No, number 3 in the world." You know, and she owned a KW. She owned 2. And then the pandemic happened. She was like, I was leveraging one to support the other one because it was failing, and I just sold out.
Yeah.
And then she went back. Now she's still with, to this day, still with Caldwell Banker.
Is she with Caldwell Banker?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, dude, sound like she need to start an indie or something.
But now I'll tell you right now that, she didn't want to. You know, she wanted to do her job at a high level.
So she was a producer.
She was a producer.
I love that. I love that she found her niche and just went in on all that.
Right, because some people, everybody falls into that category, oh, I want to take it to the next level. If you just focused on what you're doing, you could take your task to the next level. You don't have to go to ownership. You don't have to go, I need to own 17 companies. Do your job well, and you'll be successful there.
I completely agree with that. Right? Like your peak life, it's your
Peak Life.
Not anybody else's. Your level of accomplishment, your level of fulfillment. I view every opportunity, there's like financial, fulfillment, and flexibility. Like every opportunity, you got to evaluate those 3 things. There's some jobs that you can make a lot of financial opportunity in it, but it's probably less flexible, right? And you may hate it. It's less fulfillment, but you want to go make that money. Now you're trying to find something that like you can be more flexible. It might be less financial opportunity. Like
that book you just mentioned, or that scenario, it's like that's why it's your peak life, because even when you get to that peak, there might be another one right behind it. Do we want to go tackle that one? You know, that's the decisions we got to make. You know, opportunities now as we're rising to the top, it's like opportunities, people want access, blah, blah, blah. And we got to evaluate that, the finances, the time. You know, we're all family men. You know, we spoke before this, and we all got small children, including Eric. He's a grandpa. He doesn't even count.
I'm a grandpa. I love being a grandpa.
Yeah,
You don't count,
grandpa,
bro.
man.
Bro, whatever.
I ain't got no responsibilities. That's what being a grandpa is. I love you. I ain't got nothing to do with you.
Yeah,
know
but
what I mean? Like, I don't
we
have
gotta
to
manage
change
that time.
diapers. None of that.
We got to drop that time on the kids, and that's what we focus on now. It's like that's everybody knows that, like, yeah, summertime, I'm in that pool, right, with the kids. Right now, it's in my reminder, check the kids' backpack, because I was slacking on that. Like, are they missing assignments? You know what I'm saying? Oh, damn, I wasn't signing off on my daughter's band practice after school. You know, so
I mean, that's a big thing you're saying. When I think of like you guys are partners, right? When I think partnerships, I don't think just the business. Your partnerships are your friendships. Your partnerships are your spouse or the person you're choosing to spend time with, right? Like some people be like, hey, how do you still? I'm like, right, my best business partner or my best life partner is my wife. If she didn't do what she needed to do at the house, I would not. Kaleo, Kina, I can do a lot of things at a high level. Your boy could not be a stay-at-home dad at a high level. I get the kids for 4 to 5, and I love my kids to death. I love spending time with them. Boy, let my wife be gone for a day or 2. I'm like, you can have whatever you want. Let me go conquer the world. I will fight every battle outside.
put your hands against the camera so
Bro.
people see how nice they look. I remember at that broker owner little breakfast we had, you're like, I'm a big dude, but These hands are soft. I can't do
you know what
the.
I'm saying? These are for holding hands and hugging my babies, man. This is not. My wife knows. Sometimes she get her love language. Obviously, is acts of service, which is hard for me to. I grew up like I said. I'm tired of doing. I did enough chores in my life.
Yeah, no, I
do
understand that
dishes.
side.
I don't want to take out the trash. I don't want to cut the yard. Like, you want it? I'll go get somebody else to do it.
Well, that's what I learned because I hired it in. I
Yeah.
was like, you want that? I don't like to mow the yard. I don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you do have the time, it's 97 degrees outside. I'm like, I'm not doing it.
And I don't have the time. I just don't want to do it.
Correct.
And I feel like I've earned the right, at least in some small facet, to say no to some things like that.
Check out my post later. It's gonna be who's got the gutter guy. Like that's what I need done next.
Well, Frankie.
I'll call Frankie because
Get
I
Frankie up. My
have a
son- my
phobia.
son,
I
man.
could go up the ladder.
My son does little odd jobs.
Give me his
good.
number.
He's good. I
He
forget.
gonna be at my
Nah,
crib.
he does windows and doors, but he'll also do gutters and painting.
Yeah, no,
and
true
he's a
story.
cool- right?
I got up.
He did-
got up on the. We were missing a piece of siding. Got up on the house, replaced the piece of siding. I can't get back down. I can't take that first step to get back on the ladder, and my wife's at the bottom. Like, come on, stop being a bitch. I'm holding the ladder, and my legs are shaking.
Bro.
She's like,
I just joke him. I'm like, babe, the roof's not rated for somebody my size.
No, I'll tell you, that's why my Christmas lights, sorry, babe, aren't up. You've seen my house.
this will come out.
There's
New
a
Year's.
huge
Jim
peak
won't get this.
above my garage. Like it's where the frog is, and you're 35 feet in the air. And me, I'm terrified of heights. You're not like trying to pin a Christmas light to that roof.
Nah. Them clips are suspect too.
Yeah,
bro.
no, they are. Like the ladder's all like it's bendy.
Nah.
I don't know if this is the greatest content, but I'm scared of heights too. And so, I mean, seriously. Like I might have somebody asked, oh, you want to go, what is it, skydiving?
I've done that.
No.
I could do all of that.
Hey, the time for that for me has passed. If I was going to do that, it would have been between
I'll tell you.
18 and 25. After
they
that,
made me short for a reason.
No, I'll tell.
Why am I gonna fight?
Edwin's got all the little jokes around
Yeah,
it.
no, I'm not gonna fight it. I'm good. I'm good with my height. I'm supposed to be low on the ground. I'm good with that.
Well, I'll tell you because I really want to go skydiving.
you do.
Well, and it's not because I want to go skydiving. Like I'm afraid of heights, and I need to conquer that.
Good
Like,
for
how
you.
am I going to get out of that? We were literally in
So
combo.
skydiving. Got it. Yeah.
Why not? Like,
Nah.
'cause,
No, I
like-
think it'll be good in the moment, but you'll still be scared of heights after.
like you listen to that Will Smith interview when he's talking about skydiving. You know, and that's you hear it. And it's like all that fear is immediately gone.
Yeah.
Now, will that change my fear of heights? Probably not. Like, let's be real, because when you're falling attached to somebody and they're like, they don't want to die, so they're going to make sure that parachute opens.
I still got my video. I'll show you.
Yeah.
But,
Your next one is a skydive solo.
Well, yeah.
Nah.
Well, I was in Cabo. I was in Cabo just recently, and they skydived, and the plane took off right next to the resort on this rickety ass, short. I'm pretty sure they were cartel pilots at some point, because there's no way that plane should take off.
Oh,
But
little runway.
tiny runway, and these guys are landing on the beach. I'm like, I want to go do that. Like, what? Like when we go to Cancun,
No.
I might go skydiving.
Oh, I'll
Bro,
go
we'll
watch.
just jump into the cenotes. Like that's,
Nah,
that's
I mean,
enough.
we'll do that.
If I'm going to do it, here's my thing. You could go to Suffolk and go skydiving.
Yeah.
But if I die in Suffolk, that's
I'd rather die.
Yeah, he's gonna die in Cancun is a
Like,
different
let me-
story.
let me come
That's
in-
Eric type stuff.
right. Let me start coming down to the beach, and if I love it, that might be my new thing. But if I hate it, I'll never do it again. But I can sit here and say, I did it, I tried it. Try everything once.
That's a deep one. Fear of heights.
Yeah, mine's just a step. That first step on the ladder, I can't do
I'm
it
not-
for whatever. And there's a phobia. There's a name. I forgot the name.
I just have no desire. Like, there's certain things it doesn't interest me.
Man, you're 75. You lived a good life, man.
I'm good with it, man. Bro, I'm
lived a
good
good
with
life.
it, man. I feel rejuvenated. I'm 45, but I really feel as if
Damn.
my life reset, and I just got a newfound motivation. And it all happened. I retired. Right before that, I got married to my wife. So we've only been married for 3.5 years. And it's just almost like it's this third phase of my life, right, where everything is just going well. I'm surrounded by good people.
That's so powerful. I mean, and it's cool because we were just talking about young dudes like getting in the industry. But like for most of us here, I think it's like I didn't get into real estate till I was 30.
Yeah, I was 27.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not like I was
35?
21. You know?
I was 35.
But like when you find your people, like I don't know, life just looks different too.
Right.
It's also phases of life, right?
100%.
Who I am today at
Maturity.
36 was not who I was at 24. Was not who I was at 18. You know what I'm saying? It's kinda
Well,
like,
you're deep into it now, man. Like, what's your like 5-year plan? Like, where do you see yourself?
I would say you guys may experience some of this. Like, I'm on a rocket ship right now. I don't know exactly how high it's supposed to go or where it's going, but I'm doing everything I can to just keep it going. Right?
Okay.
Right.
And so it's like every glass ceiling I thought I have, it's like I'm stepping through it and kind of like the peak. There's another one. And today in my phase of life, I'm ready to go climb the next one. Then you get to the top and you're like, fuck, I want to go to the next one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not in a phase where it's like I want to settle down. Like I probably have like a 10-year run where like I want to accomplish as much as I can accomplish, right?
Yeah.
And we touched on it earlier. I believe what school teaches us and what life expects us to know is a huge gap.
Facts.
And for a lot of us where we come from, regardless, that gap's financial literacy. We never understand finances enough to make empowered decisions. We just know how to pay the bills and how to save for the next vacation or something, right? But we never are empowered by the understanding of tax mitigation strategies. Everybody throws around generational wealth, leave a legacy, but how to actually implement, potentially the infinite banking concept or retirement accounts for your kids or how to pay them. Like as real estate professionals, we have a crazy wild opportunity to change the trajectory of our lives. And so most of us are waiting for somebody else. And I'm like, I've learned, like, I just have to do it. You got to be what you want for the next level. And I want to be the light for my family. They loved me, they groomed me, they raised me, they made me the person I am. And so my next move is like, how can I learn as much as possible to continue to affect my kids, their kids, and all of that? So like I'm on a huge, I just want to learn as much as I can from everybody.
Are you you go to Glover U and you do the tour stops and everything. Are you a Glover coach also?
I am not a Glover coach. I am a Glover lover.
Yeah.
Just like everybody. So like I love their trainings and education. I know Jeff Glover through being in KW and some of his coaches through mutual acquaintances. I'm an avid collaborator in terms of like I'm in the Be Wealthy Network, which is also an agnostic, not broker centric, like
nice
investor wealth building thing. Like so I'm just like if I knew Eric owned 30 IHOPs like 3 years ago, I would have been in his DMs every day. Like I know that somebody knows something better than me and can help me be better. And when I identify those people, I think of how I can be of value so much, in fact, that when I reach out, like they want to talk to me too, right? And so once you do that, there's an exchange of value. And I owe all of there's nothing Kaleo Kina created that is my own. I got it from somebody.
Well,
you
and the sphere we're in where, and Mike brought it up in one of the past podcasts. It's like in our area now, we're at that level where people are not really trying to share with us. So we got to go outside of our areas now and like start to grab some of those things.
Unfortunately, in real estate, because it's a sales and commission-based business locally, I've never found the community to be as collaborative as professionals outside of the area. Not to say there aren't collaborative people, individuals, or teams on a very specific basis, but in general, people are less willing to share hyper locally because they feel you're in competition. And yet there's like 1 million people in Hampton Roads.
Yeah.
I consider my team to be a top team. We've only served 200. There's no way we're in competition, but we just as professionals have a hard time getting over that. So I've found going outside is the best way to do it. Like it's just way more open. You'd be surprised how much connections you can get that way.
Yeah. Every time Eric goes on trip, he comes back. It's like,
Gems.
I just talked to this guy.
Gems.
He starts hyperventilating.
Yeah, Gary
You won't
Keller
believe what
said
I just heard.
Yeah, GK said this for us one time, and I didn't understand it at the time. But like 5 years ago, my first event I went to, he said on stage, he's like, one day you're going to have to take a plane to see your friends. And in my head, I'm like, I I love my friends. We're all in Hampton Roads. What do you mean? You don't need to do that. But now I understand what he was really trying to say. At some point, if you are trying to continue to level up, bro, I travel like 10 to 20 times a year just to go visit. Next week, I'm going to Utah. People are like, "Kay, where are you going to Utah?" There's a team in Utah that does 748 transactions. Like, I'm going to shadow their office.
Yeah.
They're like,
that's dope.
Like, and I'm paying it for my, like, people don't understand. To me, I don't view those as, it's an investment in my future. I'm going to go learn from a top producer at Real. They do 740 transactions. They have 70 agents. I have 15 on my team. There's something they're doing that I'm not doing that I know I can come bring back and then execute at a higher level. And so it's just like, people don't view those as opportunities. They view those as expenses. And so it's just unfortunate because people can provide so much value.
And knowing you, like, what's your goal for Kova for next year? Like,
300
what's that?
units.
300
so
units?
300
Dope.
families served. So this is my big goal for Kova, right? I believe that I can grow it so big hyper locally. I want 3 million in GCI. Why do I want 3 million in GCI? Because based on we have a 40% profit margin, 50% cost of sale to agents, and 20% expenses. If I can keep those in line, and the 40% profit margin accounts for 10% in ancillaries, right? So it's 30% true, but with other things, it's 40%. With that 40% at 3 million GCI, I can give 15 agents a real opportunity to be six-figure earners.
Yep.
And I can have 4 high-level admin with a real opportunity to be a six-figure earner.
Yeah.
So I'd love the opportunity for 15 agents in my world making 6 figures plus, right? And 4 staff or ops making 6 figures plus. And that also leaves me and my partner with a net of over $1 million, right? And so, like, that's the world I want. Like, that's the number, because I know that I can create an environment where we're all winning. We all say that's what we want. I've forecasted it to very specific. Like, now, if Eric's on the team and he's crushing it, he might make 200, right?
Yeah.
So then now there's only 13 opportunities, right? But like,
Right.
15 people can make 6 figures at that. 4 high-level ops people in my world, running my world, can make 6 figures at that. And I'm getting the profit margin I want for the company as a whole. And so that's like my 3-year goal, right? We're at 2.25 in GCI this year. So we need about 750K in GCI. We just grew from 6 to 15 agents, right?
Nice.
And so I probably, based on, you guys know, gross net numbers with recruiting, I need 17 agents producing at 18 units per agent. So I need to go get 21 agents, because I'm going to lose some that aren't going to produce to have my 17 number. And so some of that, this math stuff, I'm an English major and I'm Hawaiian. I wasn't good at math, but I've learned the path is in the math, right? Like, people that understand math are just going to win at a higher level, and people that are empowered by it are going to be the wealthy ones, because that's how the game is played, right?
Now you've done something else also. You've, like, for your office there, you've changed that culture, and it's been growing too. So we've noticed that also. Obviously, we're watching.
Not like y'all yet. You're not like y'all though. So I'll give it.
But we could talk about it.
Yeah,
but,
you guys are at peak right now. I'll give a huge shout out to you guys. There's 2 offices that I don't compare in terms of like we need to be better than that, but you can see who's doing what at a high level, right? You guys are definitely marketing and grossing at a super high level. There's another, but I don't know your guys' profit margin, so I wouldn't see that. There's another market center whose per agent production is just out of the water, and so you two are like, they're doing these things. We need to capitalize. Like, how can we be better? They're showing us some of the things they're winning with. So, super impressive.
No, we take it serious. I mean, yesterday we sat down with bookkeeping and CPAs. That was the second half of our day, going down to every penny, and they're explaining every question. They're answering every question that we have, and also giving us more light and just understanding. Yeah. Right? Those balance sheets, those
clarity provides confidence, man.
Where can we cut? Where can we make ourselves more profitable? So that's a real thing here. And we have already goals for what we want as far as agent count, I think, and holding each other accountable. You know, I think one of the biggest difference also is the ownership just reaching out to agents. You know, in the beginning it was tough. It was like, Iron Valley who? And then after a while, it's like, I see you everywhere. And then organically now more people are just coming to us. But the other thing is the culture. Mm-hmm. You know, we're here every day. We're touching you every day. Pause.
Here we go.
So we're like, no, but I mean, like with the agents, like we're answering the phones, we're answering questions. So there's a difference there where we're not corporate-y, I guess, is where some of these older firms that were the big dogs around here, they lost sight of that. The initial growth. Yes, we have to set things in place as far as training coordinators and all of that. We're not always going to be accessible, but we want to be because we do care.
Yeah.
Like I think that comes across. Like,
Yeah.
we really do care about our agents, and that's helped us. And like that's where I see you, where it's like, man, this guy's like always around his people, leading. Like
It's I mean, to touch on a little bit what you said, all encompassing, like people who have been in the industry a long time, whatever. It's not the lack of like their model didn't work. Their model worked at one time.
Yep.
That's why they're here. It's the lack of innovation or pivoting or adaptability. The world is changing at an unprecedented rate over the last 20 years, right? Literally less than 10 years ago, people still wrote contracts.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I got in 17.
yeah, no, ask him.
I don't
He
know
knows,
that
he
I have
remembers.
ever touched a physical contract since 2017.
Right.
And then brokerages went virtual, right? And then so not saying those things will always happen, but you have to adjust and innovate, right? And Keller Williams, for all intents and purposes, like they created a capping model back in the day, right? That was an innovation.
Yeah.
Then there was a non-capping. Like there's just so many ways to do it. You always got to try to be innovating. And once you get stubborn and stuck in your ways, like it can be tough because people, I love agents. Let me preface it that way, right? Unfortunately, most agents in the beginning stages of their world only care about splits,
Yes.
right? Upfront. Like they just don't know. They don't even know how to have a conversation about the big
Where's my
picture.
leads? What's
right?
my splits?
My leads and splits. And so if you're not providing that, it's hard to get into the conversation, right? But I'll say this last thing, like I am with Keller Williams, right? However, I believe this wholeheartedly. The power is in the people. Brokerages are simply a platform for us to be the best versions of ourselves.
Yep.
And I will always be for the people first. So I'm with Keller Williams because I believe that for me, it's not for everybody. There's a place for everybody.
Yeah.
I believe it's the best platform to grow how I want to grow.
Yeah.
And as long as I believe that, that's where I'll be. But please believe I've researched EXP, Real, a little bit of Iron. Like I've independent on my own, call it KK brokerage. Right? Like I will always look at those to see what is the best opportunity for my people. I just happen to believe that in this moment of time, this is what it is. But I love that you guys have the Iron Valley brand, but like to me, the power is like you five are creating that. If you guys went off and created something else and it wasn't called Iron Valley, not a knock on, you would still have the same drive. It would just be called something else, right?
Right. It's
And
it's
so-
the product. The product helps.
And the culture is the most. You have, and what you guys are doing is smart. One person can only affect so many people. So you have to find more of the right people, right? It's like the military. The captain can't be the department head, the XO, the CO, the master chief, and all the sailors. The captain has his right-hand man who's an XO and the master chief, right? Then they have your department heads who then have their JOs, and then they have the sailors, and they execute the mission. And then there's opportunity in that growth path. And I think for us, maybe, I'm not saying we are better or not better than other people, but I think we're both pretty good. But the way we've helped ourselves is we use the military-centric model, right?
Oh, 100%.
You have somebody who can run it. He found his trusted advisors, and then you go get more people that can help lead, and then you have the agents, right? And so it's kind of those things like surrounding yourselves with the right people who have the same mission, especially with the culture. And that's hard to keep in these days, right? So like you have to be present.
There's not a day that goes by that, Edwin doesn't remind me he was a senior chief, and back in the day, this is
That's
how it
relevant.
should be done.
It is relevant.
It is relevant.
Yeah. And so it's funny because we said like, I didn't get into real estate until I was 30.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been a leader of men for 15 years, like 4 years at the academy, 8 years in the Navy. I mean, my family before that. So there's some intrinsic value of who we were growing up and the experiences we've had that like I essentially just had leadership training. And then when 30, real estate's the easy part. Leading people is the hard part. Driving results through others, the hard part. I think we can all agree here. If the world shit the bed, would Eric be okay? Would you find a way? Would you be okay?
Yeah.
Would you figure it out?
Yeah.
Yeah, facts. Yes.
So like for me, it's like it's at some point it becomes less of like a business or it becomes a relationship and a leadership problem. I mean, like equation, right? Can you lead people to go drive a result? Because if real estate went away, Kaleo Kina would be fine. I would figure out something to do at a high level and I would go do it. It just so happens I think this is a really amazing opportunity to affect a lot of people in a very positive way.
So speaking of that, you know, my path to real estate was like canyon driving, right? It was never just this is it. Getting out of the Navy for you in 17, not having a plan. Who or what led you to real estate? Because it's weird when you don't have the money, saying, "Oh, I'm gonna take 100% commission-based job. That's how I'm gonna make it." What was it, or who influenced that?
So the first influencer in that decision was a family friend of mine, Farrellyn Santos, who owns a local restaurant. She worked for Dragas way back in the day.
Nice. I love
Before she opened the restaurant. Shout out to Phelan's Oriental, top Filipino in the world. They give me discounts when I say that. No, I'm just kidding.
That's plug. Got
But she just mentioned it. I was coaching her son in basketball. He played ball at Green Run, then he went to go play in the Philippines, and now he's back. But she had mentioned it. So that's when I went. I said, I'll try it. So then I went to a local boutique brokerage, and there I was just like, I'm trying to make some money, right? So I closed 3 deals.
Right.
And at that time, this is the first time like the military spoils you. I got paid every 2 weeks. Anytime I needed a dental or surgery, I didn't see an invoice or anything. Like it just was paid for, right? Like, so I didn't really know about life, right? But then I got this, military, I'm getting paid $3,000 every check as an officer, you know what I'm saying? Then I get this one check from a commission. It's like, oh, this check is $6,000 by itself. And in my head, it's funny. I tell you this all the time. I closed 3 deals in 6 months. One was my wife's mom. That's kind of what got me going. But then it was like, what's your goals, Kay? 1 deal a month, baby. If I can close 1 deal a month, Kaleo will live good.
I'm happy, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'll live real good. That year I closed 24. So I'm like, oh, man, I'm rich. I'm living the life. Like you can't tell me nothing. I'm rolling in dough. My savings account I got 6 emergency accounts. At this point, I'm Gucci, right? And then the next year I did 45 deals. And now I think I'm really rich. And like you, Taxman came knocking. In my last 5 years, 2 years before I began to learn finance, I paid 6 figures in taxes.
Yeah.
I can tell you about some taxes.
Yep.
Us too.
And some of it is like, so I kind of got into it as a producer.
Yep.
And at that point, my level of thinking was like, I'm just going to be a top producer. This kind of money, I'm just going to do this all the time. And then July, I think it was 2020, the best month of my life, the worst month of my life. And so I've always prided myself on wanting to be a great father because I had the lack of a father figure at the time, right? So I just knew when I had kids, that's one of the reasons why I got out. I wanted to be a present dad. I couldn't go on an 11-month deployment when I just wouldn't feel good about that. So I knew I wanted to be a present dad. July 2020, we all know military special, baby. 4th of July weekend, I had like 50 showings lined up. That month, I closed 12 transactions by myself.
Nice.
I made over 6 figures in 1 month, right? I mean, at this point, I'm LeBron James in my head. Like, I'm about to be a multimillionaire.
Right.
Right? Like, it's crazy. I was like, man, you can do this every single month. What happened was my son was young, so he was with me on my showings, and it made me feel human. People liked me, right? But now I'm a dad. Like, I bring him with me. Like, he sold just as much houses as I sold. Like, they loved. He'd give me a distraction when they ask a hard question. I pretend to go change his diaper so I can think of an answer. Like, he was my guy, right? And I remember 4th of July weekend, I had like 50 showings. I'm going, and he's sick. He's in the car seat in the back. I'm going. He's crying. I'm put a bottle in his mouth, right? I'm like, come on, man. Like, I find myself not being the person I want to be in my head. And I'm like, yo, you're like frustrated that your son is sick.
Right.
In the car in the back. because you need to go show some homes. And so I pulled up to the house, Virginia Beach, right across from Mount Trashmore. I remember looking in it, and he was like screaming at this point. And like, that's the first time like I got a little emotional, you know, on my own. And fully transparent, I looked at myself, I'm like, yo, you're a fucking bitch, bro. Everything you wanted to be as a father figure, you are not that. You're choosing money over, like, that's your son.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember I showed that house. I got out the car. I called like 10 people. I paid them $100 a house for the rest of that weekend. And then I took him home and I tried to take care of him till my wife got home, right?
Yep.
But I felt terrible. And it was at that point that my mindset shifted from I need to be a producer to I need leverage. I need to grow a team.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I can't, like, I just felt terrible. Right? And so, yeah, I made a lot of money, but like I would have, it helped me learn a lesson in that moment.
I mean, 'cause
and
you're
so that's when I really
you're
started.
looking at what sacrifice
Mm-hmm.
does the money come? You know, and we all get reminded. I was talking to you this morning about this. I went to my son's wrestling match last night, you know, and it was twofold, right? It reminded me that I'm getting old because I was seeing how he was interacting with the team, the coaches, his girlfriend in the stands, taking videos of him. And it was funny because he lost his first match and you could see him moping. He's walking around, head down. He comes up and I'm like, look, kid, let the dog out. Like, that kid wants to hurt you. Hurt him. Slammed him on his head, wrapped him up, game over. Cool. And he's all celebrating, happy. And I remember that feeling playing sports. All of us have played sports at some point. But it also reminded me I'm not going to miss those events. Because if you miss those, you don't get that time back.
Mm-hmm.
You can make money. I could come out today, go make money.
Mm-hmm.
I can't replace his feeling for looking at me. Because one of the things he said to me in the stands was, where's mom?
Yeah.
So I'm divorced.
Yeah.
For his mom not to show up, that killed me.
Yeah.
Because my parents were always there. We had bad life. Sometimes it was not good, but they showed up when it was important. And to say money or your problems are more important than the kids that you produced, you put them in this world.
By choice.
They didn't ask for that. Show up. Be there.
Yeah.
Be present. I literally, you called me, I sent you the voicemail. And normally, you know me, I would answer the phone. But I had to be there because he needed me there.
And that's powerful. Thank you for being so transparent, man. That I believe that's so powerful. And I'm super happy that you're empowered now to be able to do that.
Right.
And I think that we all go on our journey, even as father figures, as dads, as men. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I would like to think that I'm doing the best I can. I can always improve. And something you just said reminded me of like a time where like, it's funny because I grew up in Arizona, but I'm Hawaiian, right?
Yeah.
So people ask me all the time, let's go to the beach. Bro, I hate the beach. I do not like being in the sun. I don't like sweating unless I'm playing a sport or making love to my wife, right? Like I just don't like to sweat for no reason. And so my wife and my kids are water babies. They love it. And so I caught myself saying, oh, I'm spending time with my kids. I go to the beach. And then I and what does that look like? That looks like us going to the beach, setting up a stand, me being in a basketball hoodie underneath the tent, sitting down with a ice cold drink and some food while they're playing, and I'm just kind of sitting down, whatever. And then a mentor of mine G-checked me and was like, bro, they don't need your time. They need you to create moments in the time that you're with them. They need your energy. And when I thought about that, he created this, like, you guys have been the whole super dramatic, like, you have 20 years to live and you only have 15 more beach days, right? And so then I started thinking of it in that way because my son's 6 now. Like, I'm young. Like, I'm in the beginning of it, right? Like, in my head, it's like 12 more years till he's 18 and he probably wants to do his own thing. And that's even
before that,
like,
Is before that.
And I, so like, I'm like, all right, 12 summers, like, numbers are getting real. I'm starting to like, oh shit. I'm like, maybe we go to the beach 20 times, like, 100 times at the beach. And like the last 10 times I've wasted every single one. Because I was there. I spent the time at the beach, but I didn't invest my energy and I wasn't present, like you said. And so even you physically being there could not be me. You have to, like, the phone is an addiction.
100%.
Social media is an addiction. The first thing you do when you wake up, I take the shit to the restroom. Like, You know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird when it's not around you. Like, when you start thinking about those things, like, that's when I was like, no, there are very intentional moments. And so we call them magic moments now, but like, I challenge my team every week to create a magic moment intentionally. Like, don't let life pass us by. Don't be like, oh, I had a moment because we happened. Like, no, what moment are you creating on purpose? Because there was too many times that I called myself spending time and I wasn't.
Right.
I wasn't giving my energy and my presence.
Well, similar, like my dad wasn't around for different reasons, but when you're growing up and you're doing those sports and those daddy Sundays or parent day, and it's like my uncle has to show up for me, but everybody else got their dad there. That affects you, it affects you in the moment, but it's not, you really acknowledge it until you're like older.
Yeah.
And it's like, those are ingrained in me. And it's like the same thing. It's like, nah, I'm not missing this event for my kids. Like the parents are going to be there. There's not a time I could say that like my kids have not seen me at school. Like I volunteer at the kids' school and I'm a watchdog at ODS, which is dope, And yes, at a certain point, we also know that the kids are just like, they're not going to want you around no more. They just want to be out with their friends. So yes, it's not 18 years. This is definitely going to be
mine are getting
14 or 15.
Right, mine are getting to that moment now. Like Brooke's 12. She comes home from school straight to the room, on the phone, on the tablet. And I'm like, come talk. Like, you're my baby girl. You're my only baby girl. Like, come talk. Let me hold you. Nah, that's all past.
Where do you see, I know your kids are young, but you kind of already start seeing, do you got like that sports kid, musical?
Yeah, I joke around about what I think could happen. Like my son, he's the oldest. He's the sports kid. He's in flag football, basketball. Probably because he sees me. Like, his favorite number is 24. His favorite basketball players, me and Kobe. Like, he loves that. And I love that for him. So I think he's going to be the sports kid. My girls are 3 and 2, but they're in gymnastics. But I joke around with their attitude. Like, I think Kaleo, like in my head, they're all going to be in real estate in the future. So like, I'm like, right. Kaleo's going to be our top producer. The people are going to love him. He's in the streets. Like everybody's going to love him. Callie is like the CEO, the COO. She's like, no, that's not how we do things. This is how we're going to do it. The operations, right?
Yep.
And Kaya is going to be the middle of the road. Like, Dad, I'll help out, but I don't really know if this is for me. But, right. I like being with the family. And then I haven't decided what the last one is. But, yeah, Callie is more COO, admin, run the ops side. Kaleo's going to be the top producer. He'll be out in the streets somewhere. And then Kaya's just kind of like, she's just here with the fam. She's just going to reap the benefits and
That's
bring
dope.
good vibes.
How many more kids do you guys want to have?
Minimum of 1. So
okay,
it's funny. I like to, like you guys heard me just talk about some, like in my head, I do that almost with everything. Like I just have to plan things out. In my head, I was going to have boy, boy, girl, boy. And I had all the names and everything done. So every child, I thought I was going to have a boy, right? So the first one, I was right. Boom, bet. Plan is going perfect, right? Second one, girl. Then I was like, the next one's got to be a boy. Girl. And I was like, there's no way the next one's not a boy. Girl. So at this point, I'm just like, well, the next one's got to be a boy, right? And so I think my wife wants him to have a brother because the girls got each other.
Yeah.
And like, so I think she wants them to have a brother, and I'm down. Like I'll have as many kids as long as she's my partner. Like, hopefully nothing ever happens in the
More
future.
protein
I want to
shakes.
love her forever. But like, as long as I got her, I'll have as many kids as we want to have. Like,
dope.
And so the goal is to have another boy. I think I'd be done. Ideally, perfect scenario, my biological father's a twin, and I have twin sisters. If we had twin boys, 3 boys, 3 girls, we good. At that point, I would call it a wrap after that.
Super dope, man. Yeah. I enjoy seeing your family pictures, and even when I see your wife, I act like I know her through social media. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, what's up? How you doing? And she's probably like, man, who the hell's this guy? But it feels like we're connected somehow, So I really mess with you guys, man. You guys are doing a phenomenal job with your kids. And being positive. It's important that, a lot of times in social media, those single posts, those single profiles, they get a lot of views, right? But it's just as important for us to project the family, the importance of family and being successful as a father, right? As a husband and a businessman. Like, it's all encompasses as a person. You guys do a very great job of that. And we need more people like that.
I think it's a learned trait. in terms of like the positivity or like looking ahead the right way. Like, and you need your friends and family to hold you accountable to that. But like my wife jokes with me and she's just like, you're the most positive person I know. And I'm like, it's not because I'm positive all the time. Trust me. I get frustrated. I get irritated. I want to cuss people out. Like I have hard conversations, but you have to put your mind in that frame to continue to like maximize how you move forward. The world is negative enough.
Facts.
Like, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like,
Just turn the news on.
yeah, like there'll be times like
that's all.
my wife and I will talk to each other. Even my business partner Megan. Like I'll pretty much like when we're in those modes, I'm like positive vibes only. Because if we say anything outside of the norm, it's about to go down.
Right.
Like positive vibes only. Like, and then you'd be so amazed how your energy shifts. Like when you focus on the good things.
That's a good standpoint. I like Megan too. Megan's my people's, man. She's always got that, she greets you like she knew me forever. I love that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like I know that she messes with me just by my interactions with her. And we probably had a handful.
Yeah.
Mostly because of our connection, right? And us just kind of messing with each other and kind of staying in contact, calling each other and all that stuff. But I appreciate that too. So it's pretty dope. You know what I mean? Jordan's the same way. And so I think Jordan is one of the funniest people I've ever met.
He's hilarious.
The guy should be a professional comedian.
Yeah, he got those jabs. He got those slick ones.
Yeah, he's quick with it, man.
He could be.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe he's like Eric for y'all. I call him, he's my pretty face. He's my marketing. I put Jordan on in front of everything.
Well, I mean, so me and Jordan, I mean, we served together. We got our license together.
Oh, did y'all?
Did you?
So yeah,
Did not know that.
It was it was me, Jordan, Ryan McFarland, BJ. All of us were in the same command.
Oh,
you know,
damn.
so like, and then we all kind of went our separate ways. And I mean, it's inspiring what you guys are doing. What he's done. Obviously, I watch him because we came in together.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a tight knit group too.
Right, it is.
I think I met Ryan McFarland when I first went to the current brokerage I'm at. I think him and his family like just launched some local
the
like
gym,
kids friendly
Kids
like
gym.
company like for kids. So
Yeah, LJ actually, he just put his daughter in a gym. Like that was the one I posted in the group and said, hey, if you got small kids,
Gotcha.
this is dope. Get them young, teach them that like health and fitness is number one. Really, like I smoke and I know it's gonna kill me, but I'm like in the gym. Making sure I eat somewhat healthy. Other than in real estate, we know it's a lot of eating out. So we try to manage that, right? But health and fitness that's the start. That's the base. Because if you're not healthy, you're not pushing anybody. At the end of the day,
that's smart.
You know,
I mean,
and what he's doing is dope.
health is wealth, man. Without that, I mean, I'm learning it more now that I'm getting older and out of shape.
Yeah, the knees start going.
We don't eat nothing but rice and meat. So
Loco Mocos. That's what the meatloaf's for. I don't even have meatloaf. I have Loco Mocos. You guys don't even know about that.
I don't.
Well, bring it
we'll
home,
get
bro.
you some, man.
I don't know.
Well, I told him last night you got to stop eating beans and rice.
Because they know I'll go to Puerto Rican restaurant every single day. Like I'm perfectly fine going.
Yeah,
like,
we could
this
be
is Puerto-
anywhere. Just like, oh, there's a Puerto Rican spot right here in the corner. I was like, what do you mean? Like, how do you know this exists?
Researching the week before we get there, like where's the the Puerto
But
Rican
we went to
restaurants?
Richmond and I found a Cuban spot. Man. Like I like what I like.
Ain't nothing wrong with
You know
that.
what I'm saying?
He said, you talking about focus on the one thing earlier. That's just one thing.
I like.
It is.
I know it's not gonna miss. Right? I'm not gonna. I know.
You know
I
what to
can
expect.
Go, yeah. I
So
go-
I'm a little different. I like going new places, and I'll do the
I
thing.
do too.
I'll do the thing that's just like, what are you famous for? Let me try that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into trying out new spots, and I'm not picky. Hell, I got my little hole in the wall over here. It's a little Greek restaurant.
Bro, been here 18 years. You put me on. I've been 18 years within 3 miles of this building.
I gotta
never
give you
knew
my
that
local
place.
spots. I gotta.
Yeah,
Send me a list. I'll go.
yeah, because I like it because it's like no realtors, no lenders, no number. Like, I'm not gonna see anybody I know, and it's quiet. It's like, yeah, what you see a lot. No, they're trying to get your business. Like, not today. Like, I don't want to talk to you. Leave me alone. Anyways,
But it's hard now, right? Like 3 years ago, I can go anywhere, and no one really knew who Edwin Rodriguez was, right? When it came to real estate, I mean,
They knew the senior chief though.
They didn't know all day. Senior Chief Rodriguez,
Yeah.
right? But now, I can be at a show. People like, hey, I mess with you. I'll follow you. It's kind of like now we have the visibility and just we're just known throughout the.
It's also a responsibility. That's what I try to tell some
Yeah.
of my young bucks. Like I got a couple leaders that I'm empowering to trying to step up. And I say, when you're an agent, there's a different level of perception and relationship and going out that you can have. Once you start stepping into leadership, and you knew it from the military, there's a level of responsibility in the portrayal of who you are and how things are done.
Yeah.
And so it's like there's a social responsibility. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying to be fake or not to be you, but you just got to be way more aware, because you'd be surprised. I mean, how many people come up to you guys and say, we really see what you guys are doing, or thank you for that inspiration. Like, you don't know how many people you're affecting.
Right. And we find that now, hell, like even like with Mike, walking around with him sometimes, and it's like, they don't call him Mike. Oh, broken from the bottom. Like I see that. And we had lunch one day, for example. Guy came down from like Richmond or up north somewhere just to meet him, because he's like, man, you're a positive thing in my life, whatever. And that was like, wow.
Powerful.
You don't know that. You see the comments, you see the likes, but people do actually reach out, say thank you, or I needed that today, which is good.
It's powerful, man. There'll be some times like I don't post my little morning quote. I'll get like 6 DMs.
Like, where is it?
Yeah, like,
Where is it?
hey, where's it? Or like, you good?
Yeah, because I haven't been on the, with time and scheduling, because I'll see you post the walking with Kaleo,
Walk and talk. Mhm.
walk and talk. And it's always like something's happened, so I can't get on. I wanted to check that out. But I see it, and it's like I'm interested. Like I want to check that out, obviously, because I know what you're about. And I was like, oh, that's something good I need to check out. But with that, take us home, man.
Yeah, man. Just we appreciate you coming on the podcast. Your insight, you're an influencer. You're just a dope dude. You know what I mean? Like if I could wrap it up, I appreciate the inspiration, and we look forward to building our relationship professionally and personally.
Absolutely.
All right?
I just want to say thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.
You guys have also been lighting Hampton Roads on fire, and so keep it up, because I need something to chase. You know what I'm saying? And so, in a healthy way, you guys have done a lot. Much respect, much love. If there's anything I can do for you, any collaboration we can have, would love the opportunity. And so, thank you so much.